All right. So many things
Yeah.
to talk about since our
Where
last
where
live stream that
where
we.
do we even start?
I figured that we mentioned, well, everybody that's here with us today knows that we launched Discord last Monday. We already have over 400 members,
Yep.
um, and this is the place where, well, over 500 JB now. That's
Wow.
right. That's right. I was looking
Power
at the
level.
offline people. Over 500 now. That's great. And this is the place really where you get the opportunity to discuss directly with some of the core engineers here at Botpress and the product team, and get access to some exclusive events like this stage that we're doing here today, and such as the AMA that you had there last week with Sylvain. Um, so as we get started, there was a good question in the chat. This may not necessarily be super intuitive as YouTube here. We'll be recording the session today, so that everybody knows. We'll be posting that
Yep.
recording on YouTube, so that you'll be able to see it as a reference there in the future. And more announcements. For those of you who've missed, since last week, we released agents. We released agents. We've updated the toolbox into a new card tray to
Yep.
make it much faster, much easier, more intuitive to have access in less clicks to the components that you need, to the cards that you need to build your chatbot. And we'll be seeing some of that today as we go through. Um, we did another more subtle change. We moved the preferences for your profile from the Botpress logo icon in the studio at the top left hand side into
Yeah.
your name. And there's one option in there. It moved, right? It's that snap to grid that I love so much.
That's your favorite option. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And
It
it's
is no longer
it's a
hidden.
profile thing. It's so it's you change that setting there. It applies to all your studios there on all your bots,
Yep.
right? Um, And well, there's going to be more announcements. There's going to be more release notes. If you want to see them, be the first to receive them. Check out
We
the announcements
yeah,
channel
we
on Discord.
we have a new announcements in the Botpress Studio now. That's one of the new
Also,
options in the bottom left-hand corner.
that's right. That's right. So as soon as you log into the studio for the first time, since we did the update, you get that pop-up notification. You can just close it,
Yeah.
read through it, skip it, and you can see them as well on Discord. We'll be posting them on the forum as well. Um, So I was wondering, like last week, 2 weeks ago, what we did. It's over 500.
Wow.
It's 9,000. Don't do this.
Oh,
It's over nine. Power levels over 9,000.
we'll get to 9,000 one day. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That got my little side of me there. Okay. 2 weeks ago, we spent a full 2 hours talking about knowledge bases
Yep.
and talking about pandas eating bamboo shoots, how much they
Yes.
weigh, their age. Um, and well, we want to continue off of that today and then dive deeper into building more aspects of the bot,
Yes.
covering possibly the capture information, maybe the AI task, variables, really see where the conversation takes us today. Um, I was wondering if we should maybe introduce a little bit the concept of agents since they affect knowledge bases. Well, they don't really, it doesn't really functionally affect knowledge bases, but they are required to interact with knowledge bases, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's really only 4 agents right now, so I think that would be a good place to start off and just talk about what agents are, and then what agents are available now, and maybe give a little bit of a glimpse about the future of agents.
Should I share my screen for this? I think I'll
Yeah,
share my
I
screen.
think
So yeah,
I
we
think
can
you
we can
should.
visually associate what we're talking about to the
Yes,
agents.
and we can look at
Um,
all the cool agent settings.
yes, because each
Yeah.
agent has its has its own settings, right? Because we
They
can have
do, they do.
multiple
They have their
agents
own
working together.
special names, special settings. And while Jesse's doing that, I'll just start talking about what exactly agents are. In
Please.
the Botpress Cloud Studio, we've introduced agents as a way to kind of capture certain functionalities that an LLM or a large language model can do. They can be certain tools or they can be certain workflows that will be able to happen automatically for the LLM. And I'm using these really vague general words because it's a very big general tool. It'd be like asking Jesse to describe a hammer without using the word hammer. It can be difficult to describe something with so many broad uses. Specifically, right now we've got four agents. We've got a summarize, a translate, a knowledge, and a oh gosh, what's the fourth one? Let's see what's on Jesse's screen.
Personality, translate,
Personality,
summary.
right?
Yeah.
Personality is the fourth one. And these agents are a way to easily tap into different things that a large language model can do. Large language models are great at summarizing, they're great at generating, they're great at extracting information. And so the translation agent, for an example, is a really great shortcut tool to get an LLM to extract a language and then translate from English to that language. Um, the summarize agent, LLMs are great at making summaries of things. So the summarize agent is a great way to capture that whole workflow of take the chat history so far and turn it into a few phrases of a summary. Um, that's what the agents that we have right now are for. You can activate these agents. They've got their own little panel in the side. Jesse, would you mind showing the agents panel? Yeah, that right over there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was wondering if. Okay. So you see my screen? We're good. Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm slowly loading it. But yeah, that is where you can see all the agents that are available. And if you click on one of the agents, you'll be able to see the settings for that agent. And they all have their own different settings. They've all have a short description. In this case, the summary agent does what it says at the top. You can enable, disable it, and then they will also expose some variables. So if you want to use the summary in an AI task, like that's a very common use case, to have the AI based on the conversation that's happened so far, try to answer the user's question or classify the sentiment or other things like that. So agents will expose a variable and you can copy the variable easily from the settings. Yeah. Jesse, have you played around much with the different agents that are up there?
I have not played with the agents yet.
Okay.
Because well, literally, like it was a migration. It didn't. These four
Yeah.
agents that are there are just as a start recreating some of the features that were already available and adding some additional configurations on them. So I had a knowledge base in this bot before, and
Mm-hmm.
without the agent, and now the agent is there, enabled by default because I had a
Yeah.
knowledge. Whoop, wrong one. Knowledge agent because I had knowledge bases originally. It's enabled by default. Um, and so my bot is behaving exactly the same way it used to. We actually even
Yeah.
added a feature here where we can disable.
Yeah.
This
Ah,
was
that's
this is a big
so
feature
good.
request.
I love that little checkbox because that's been a huge thing as well. Where sometimes I want the bot to always start out and give a certain greeting or ask the user a question, then go to the knowledge base. But that little checkbox lets me very easily do that.
That's right. Like when we want the bot to actually have the start the conversation initially, you send like a hey. Oh, yes, this was a good one. Um,
Yeah.
So when we create a knowledge base on the
Hmm.
entire website on the internets, and then we
Yeah.
would greet our chatbot, we'd say hey because we wanted to start the conversation in the emulator. Well, the chatbot would reply back with like a definition or different ways of saying hello. I was like, okay,
Hey, it's
but
for
all my users.
horses.
So this was the one particular situation that kept coming up. I was like, whoa, That's right. Okay. So on that first message, we absolutely, in some case, most, well, not most cases, but some cases, not knowledge answer. So you could just disable this here out of the box. You could work around it with some code before, but you
Hmm.
really had to know how to go and manipulate that specific object, right? So we put it configurable since everybody, a lot of people ended up having to do it. Um,
Yeah.
Personality. So as we see here, I wasn't doing any personality rewrites in my bot here, so this
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
enabled for me by default. But it works the
That's
same
fair.
way as the personality rewrite used to work when it was in the chatbot preferences section.
I
Um,
love that little default example. You're a funny clown that likes to add emojis. That's really good.
just some of your messages, yeah. It's adding emojis. I like adding that in my personality rewrites. I do like emojis, maybe a little too much. So I've toned it down after a while because
Okay.
your signatures at the end of emails, like I'm all about that, like signature. Do you say thank you? Do you say thanks? Do you say best regards, warm regards, regards? Like is it professional, not professional? I just put an emoji at the end. I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
great.
that
So
works.
I could just have my agent here add emojis as I normally would. I wouldn't actually have thought of writing that here, but no, the example just
It would be a great place to
just
write it.
just
Yeah.
inspired me there. Yeah.
Yes. Your
There was a
personality
question
being, you know.
in the Discord from Dish It Dash. Absolutely, and for anyone in the audience, if you have any questions as we're going along, and you want to guide us a
Yeah.
little around what we're presenting today, please, absolutely, drop your messages in the chat, and either one of our moderators like JB or Patrick will answer, maybe someone from the
Hmm.
engineering team if they're listening in, or we'll try to address some as well on well, live, right, as we're speaking, either myself or Gordon. Translator,
Even if you
this,
don't strictly have a question, just say hi. Happy to have you guys here.
tell us where you're coming from around the
Yeah.
world. I'm in Montreal. Gordy, where you are from again right
I'm coming
now? I
at y'all
always,
from Malaysia. Yeah.
Malaysia,
Other
okay,
side of
so
the world.
completely
Have
different time zones.
any
It's,
Southeast Asian folks here in the chat? Y'all staying up late to get some butt press?
to answer that question, well, next question gets a cookie. Okay, well, an answer could get a cookie too.
I want a cookie.
Or the translator agent. This is something. This is not just an agent that we added like as a feature that existed. This is also a new feature, right? Uh,
Yeah, especially that
because
loop of detect the user agent and then or detect the user language and then translate it.
yeah, yeah. So that's it. So like when we created our bot initially, Explore Bot, see, like I just go here and now the chatbot settings are there. We could
Yeah.
our personality rewrite was here. And you could put your
Yes.
personality and enable the personality rewrite, but it was also enabling content language in the language that you specified here, and it would force the language. You didn't have that flexibility of changing your
Yeah.
language based off of the user's preference. So your
Yeah.
language here now in your bot settings is the default language you're building your bot in, so that we know what the source language is. And then the translator agent, Gordon, I believe you've played around with this. I haven't. I know about it, but I haven't touched it yet.
Yeah. So the main thing is just that the configuration to detect user language. If that's checked off, then the bot will do its best to detect whatever language the user has spoken to the bot with and then reply in that same language. The other way the translator agent can work is that second variable or the exposed variable of language. That's a way for you to hard code the language that your bot speaks to the user or whatever to translate your content back into for the user. It's similar to that default language. Um, in how it works, but that variable could also be changed later on. That's the cool thing about it being a variable. So, say you want to start the conversation assigning the language. My favorite way is just a bunch of buttons with flag emojis in them. You were talking about emojis earlier, Jesse. That's like my favorite use. Like pick your language. You got like a French flag and an Indian flag and a Malaysian flag, and like, oh, I want to speak Malay. Click that flag. You can then take that value from the button, use that to set the agent translate language, and then your bot will speak Malaysian or French or Indonesian or whatever that language you set is for the rest of the conversation. So that's been really cool. Do you want to do that right now, Jesse?
Yeah, yeah. I thought
All
I
right.
managed to. I wasn't going fast enough.
It's
So
okay.
like English, French.
Yeah, French.
Okay, we'll add two. Do
Uh,
like we just asked, what language you like to speak in. It's not a great copy, but for the purpose of this, I'll just say which language, what language. Single choice. We'll store that result into a variable. We'll call it language code. Okay.
yep.
That should do the trick, right? And then
Yeah, I think you might need to use the little variable in the choices to add a to assign a value, so you can have like the language or the label and the value. Oh,
how
nope,
do I do
that's
that?
not it. Um, no, we could just do transitions to their own little nodes. That's fine. Uh,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so
Well,
in
unless
those transitions,
there's another card. It's a single choice, right? Or
yeah,
multiple?
yeah,
No,
single
single
choice.
choice.
You're good.
Yeah, I
So
was
we can just
expecting
make,
to have the. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
yeah, just like that. So do you have that translation variable copied to your clipboard?
Ah, I do not. Translator
It's okay.
agent. So
And then
okay,
you
yeah. So
can
I got
just
the
click
agent
on
translate.
the name of that variable.
Could just copy it. Okay, click on it. I'll enable this at the same time while we're at it. Save it. Okay. So here I would set the language to the language code English. Execute code, right? Um, oh, I'll just type it in, right? Like this
Mm.
equal en. Nope, supposed to be. There we go. I got that right. I think I got that right.
Yeah, it looks about right. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put a label on that. Set language to English. Okay. Set language to English. Now I believe I can copy this card now. Like click on it, Control C, go here. I thought I might have heard that recently. No, not yet. Okay.
Yeah,
Too
not
ambitious.
quite.
That's coming.
Soon. Yeah.
And I know Dish Dash asked a question about using natural language to generate code, and I'm just like skipping that part by writing actual code. Um, we may discuss that a little bit in more depth later today. Add a card. Okay, where am I going here? Transition, right? I just want to just transition all the time, right? Yeah, okay. Expression. There we go. And here's where I want to simply output. Hmm, okay, this keeps popping up over my screen because I'm zoomed in so much. I don't have so much real estate space. Expression, set
Mm.
language, expression. What's the condition? It's just true. True. Oh, here we go. True. Perfect. Same one for this condition. True.
True. It'll default to always and go from there.
And now this text here should be text that, okay, we'll set it to English. It should, we'll say it in English. It shouldn't translate it because, well, we're already in English. And if I pass through the French, through French, it should translate my text to French. Oh, did we lose Gordon?
I think you just lost my video. If you can hear my
Okay.
audio,
All
that'll be
right,
all right.
great.
So yeah, you can just
I'll
have
make
that
this
little.
super confusing.
All right.
D'accord, maintenant nous parlons en anglais. Oh, okay. That easy. And then if I were to continue the conversation, while I start over, we should be in French. So it should ask me which language in French. If I say, hey again,
Yes.
quelle langue? English, French. Oh, I didn't do the buttons though, but it did update the text here. Okay.
Yeah, the button's really that necessary.
Microcopy, possibly. If you have any
Hmm.
if you have any feedback, suggestions about what your preferred behavior would be in the audience, in the chat, feel free to drop in your ideas. Always add logic pro. Okay. There we go.
All right.
Language detection. Gordon, yeah, I believe you covered this, right? If we
Yeah.
add, okay, in the agent itself, the translator agent, we can detect the user language. Okay, yeah, let's do that because we just force the language
Hmm.
by having the user select an
Yes.
option, but we could also have the bot reply back to the user in the same language that they're speaking, right? If we detect it properly.
Hmm.
So if we, let's say we also skip this test bot, I'm gonna have so many nodes here.
It's all right. But all of your
Add
nodes
card.
snap to a grid. Very pretty.
They do. I'm gonna hold this thing in place here. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna say something. What am I gonna say? Hello and welcome to Panda Info. Okay, for my lack of originality, please. Forgive me. Okay, restart this conversation. Or I could have just said hello. How are you? Hello and welcome to Panda Info. And if I say bonjour. Oh, Gordon, I saw you disappear again.
I'm slowly behind the scenes trying to get my camera to come back on. My
Okay.
computer is slowly melting and it glitched with the camera briefly.
It didn't switch. So does it switch only at the beginning of the conversation, at the very beginning? Like it
Let's
doesn't switch every
see.
turn, I think, because then it would just affect the, okay, so if
What
I,
happens if you continue speaking French? You say, bonjour, j'ai une baguette. Sorry, that's all the French
oh,
I know.
that's a stereotype. Okay. All right, straight to the baguette and cheese. That's great. Let me reset this. Start as a new user. Bonjour, comment ça va? Ah, that's it. Okay.
There we
So that's
go.
what happens. So it detects it on the first conversational turn, on the first message. It detects it at the beginning, and then it maintains that language throughout the
Hmm.
conversation, unless you override it by manually setting this variable to the language. So this is like an override from the detected
Yeah.
language that you get at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's cool. So we really get that level of control. If we want this bot replying in English, replying in French, we can set this language really to the language that was detected by the translator. So user translator dot language. So we can really access each agent's variables that they expose at every turn within our workflows and even set them. So we can change the behavior of our flow, of our bot, and we can,
Hmm.
with an agent, we can also influence how an agent is going to behave or manipulate a conversation through variables. Okay, this is really cool.
Yeah. There's one other agent while we're talking about agents, and that's the summary agent, which is also a brand new feature, really. This isn't something that we've had in Botpress before, uh, which is really cool. So the summary agent will, with every turn of the conversation, summarize what has happened in the chat so far within a certain length, uh, which is really awesome. It's like a buffered summary memory for the conversation. So the way that it comes triggered by default is the maximum length of that summary will be about 100 tokens or so, which is around 100, 150-ish words, which is really handy. You can
What's a
then just
token?
pass this into your AI task, or you can send it as an API call to your database or whatever. And it's just a really handy way to reference the entire chat conversation.
Gordon, you said a token, 100 tokens, about 150 messages. Is it messages? No, is 150 words. Is it safe to assume that if we would put this number to 200, it's 50% more, like 300 words? Like, what's a token? How do we calculate this? How is this important that we have this number?
Sure, sure. It's a it's a very hard thing to put a pin on for a couple of reasons. So in AI and large language models, when we talk about a token, it has to do with how we turn words into numbers. Uh, because machine learning is all about numbers, but we humans are all about words. So there has to be kind of a layer that turns our words into numbers. And a chunk of word represented by numbers is called a token. Usually they're anywhere from 700 numbers in a list to 1,500 numbers in a list. And that's how we get the tokens from words. AI does all of its math and stuff with tokens, and then those tokens are converted back into words at the end, and the words sent to us. It's hard to exactly quantify how many words per token for a couple reasons, because different words have different token lengths. A very simple word like the word red might have one token, which is easy, but a more complicated word like Washington, it could be a name, it could be a city, it could be a state. There's a lot of different meanings, so the word Washington would have a lot more than just one token. It might have one and a half or two tokens. And on the other side, LLMs are not necessarily good at giving a precise word count either. So, if you tell them to limit themselves to 100 tokens, they might actually give you, 105 or 110. So, you've got two layers of just impreciseness. Um,
So,
so,
Gordon,
really, with that number, yeah.
would a like a character count be a more accurate estimate than words in that case? If like, because I seem to hear that the length of the word uh,
Mm-hmm.
changes the the token count.
Right. Yeah, you could sort of do it as a character count. For me, my like internal rule of thumb is just the word count plus or minus 25%. So if we have
Okay.
200 words, 25 of that 250. So it could be anywhere from 150 to 250 words. If it's down to 100, it could be between 75 and 125. So it's very imprecise, but it shouldn't really matter all of that much because LLM will give you a nice summary at the end of it all. So it doesn't necessarily matter too much to us if that summary is 100 tokens exact or if it's 97 or 105.
Okay, so this is kind of a technical way, at least here, to uh, limit the size of the summary that's going to be produced by the agent here, ultimately, and it's counted in
Mm-hmm.
tokens. So we could say plus or minus 25% the number that we're putting there. So it would tell us, like, for example, 200 between 150 and 250 words will be the summary. Okay. Now you were saying we could use this like in our API calls. We could use this in our AI tasks, um, which is really useful for many reasons. One that I'm thinking of is that a lot of users are trying to, well, somewhat reproduce in Botpress ChatGPT, and they
Yeah.
quickly realize that, hey, this is just like a one-turn thing. The chatbot's not remembering the history of my conversation, and it's not following up appropriately as it should when I'm referring to something I said previously. Uh, I think this is where the summary agent comes in, I think, really well. Uh, so we can add that in the AI task. So we can end up having a multi-turn conversation in Botpress, like a la ChatGPT, by passing in the conversation history, like the chat transcript, ultimately, in the AI task input.
Yeah,
I'd like to
absolutely.
try this out. Do you have like a sample idea? Because yeah, help me out there with um, wow, I just lost
Yeah,
my words. This
for a
happens
basic
every
kind of
now and
chat
again.
GPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it can just be one node. Uh, the node will contain an AI task, and we'll give a nice little prompt for that AI task. We'll say that you are a helpful AI that should do your best to respond to the user with something relevant to their question and to the provided chat history. I think that's a good little prompt. I'll pop that in the chat too so other folks can copy paste from it.
Okay. Now in here, store the result in a variable. Well, this will be the answer. We'll store it there. It'll be a string. Quite basic. Still, we can output that in a message card. Now the AI task input, we have to pass
Yeah,
in the
we do. We've
summary. We
got two
have
things.
two things. Ah,
Things. We
yes,
have to
that's
pass
right.
the summary, and we have to
Copy
pass
this over.
and we have to pass the user's question. So I like to do, yeah, just that, a little label and then a colon and then the variable. And so then we can do the next thing on a new line for user question. And then for this one, we can just use event.preview. That's the data that has the user's input exactly as it was written.
Nope, I skipped there
And
quickly. Okay.
then after that card, back in our node, we will want to put a text send message, a text card, and we'll just pop in the answer variable.
Just going and adding things,
Yeah.
confusing things here, right? We could do workflow dot answer, but anything that's a workflow variable, we have like a what's this,
Yeah,
shorthand,
yeah.
the good
Nice little
terminology.
alias. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, answer. We should be good to go here.
Yes.
So how old are pandas? How old?
Oh,
Yeah,
you
how?
forgot a couple things. We're not
Oh, I
quite
did.
there yet.
No.
After that response, we need to have
Mm-hmm.
the bot wait for
Okay.
the user's next question. So
Excellent.
actually, instead of that text message, we can do a raw input and have the question be the AI response. Um, and then after that, a transition to loop back to the start of the node. Yeah, just like that. And then we can delete that text message that's above it in the node. No need to save anything to a variable. And after this, we'll put in a transition card and have it loop back to the start of the node. All right, there we go. And that's a one node ChatGPT. Span of a panda. All right. Yeah, no, that's a good question.
Keeping with the same oh, is
Yeah.
this are we getting this from the knowledge base because we stored that recently?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. But then we
Hmm,
can follow this up and we can turn the knowledge agent off because ChatGPT should know about pandas anyways.
Yeah, let's disable the knowledge because we made all this knowledge base about pandas. Okay, want to make sure that it's just coming from the AI task
Yeah.
from ChatGPT. Okay, it's around 20 years, while
Cool.
pandas captivity can live up to 30 years or more.
And
Wow,
then
you'd
let's
think
ask
that
a
being held
contextual
captive wasn't
question.
healthy. Yes.
Yeah. So
So
let's
about
say like
pandas,
how
what do
big
they
can
eat?
they get?
How big can they
Not
get?
specifying who or what they is, uh, just saying that we want to test their context. Look at that, pandas can grow. Beautiful.
Boom. 6 feet. Really?
6 feet. That's
Is
bigger
that
than
while they're
me.
on all fours, or is that standing up?
Oh, it's got to be standing up.
That would be huge.
Yeah, if they were on all fours, we'd measure them like horses in hands. We'd be like, yes, my panda is 12 hands tall.
It's 12 that short? It's like 17. 17's a pretty tall horse, right?
I think so.
Is
Yeah.
it even how tall can a horse get? How tall is that in hands? Because we measure in hands.
We measure horses in hands. Height of
Yeah.
horses. 6 feet is equivalent to 18 hands. Huh, look at that.
Okay. Well, it's still talking about pandas, though. I
Right.
got confused. Okay, so now we have that summary. It's talking about pandas. We switched over the horses based on the
Hmm.
summary. It's confused which one we're talking about exactly. But that's
Yeah.
because it's a summary, right? So there's some cases where the summary would be good, but there's some other cases where we'd probably prefer pass in the actual transcript and the exchange of messages step by step. That can also be done. That will be with an execute card that may offer a little more control over the output here, more accuracy over the output. Okay, so that's one way of one very quick way to go about it with the summary agent with our 200 tokens. We maybe be able to increase the number of tokens to have
Yeah.
more accuracy over
Well,
or more information in the summary, so it doesn't overly summarize and start omitting content to the point of where it's like untrue at some point.
I would do it by the expected length of your conversation.
Mm.
Summary memory is typically it shines most for very long conversations because it will grow and then it'll be capped at a certain kind of length. So for very short conversations, it doesn't really matter too much how big your context or how big your token window is, whether it's 100 or 300. If the summary is just 50 tokens long, it doesn't matter that much. For much longer conversations, you do want to have more tokens in your summary memory, and you want a bigger memory for that.
Right. Okay, that's a good way to look at it. Though the average conversation we expect to have with the user should influence the number that we have there. That's a very good guideline. We have Fwesh. It has a question here. I don't suppose the summary variable could be passed into the personality agent. I'm trying to get my bot to remember that the user already knows it, and it needn't randomly say "Hey there" or reintroduce
Hmm.
itself.
Oh, this would
Is
be a
that
great
is it
for user
yeah,
variables.
user user variables?
User variables. So user variables are they don't necessarily have anything to do with personality or the agents, but they're a bot building tool that we can use in flows to mark whether or not the user has been greeted or not. Uh, Variables in Botpress can be scoped for certain different lifetime lengths. And this is something that's very similar to our older product, Botpress 12, where we've got some variables that only live inside of your workflow. So if they are assigned in main and then you jump off to a different workflow, you no longer have access to those variables. User variables, on the other hand, they follow the user wherever they go. So you can assign a user variable at the start of a conversation after you greet them, and then every time the user comes back, they'll never get that initial greeting if that's how you build your flow. Um, I think one of the other things we've been talking about are session variables. Those might be in the current product or not. Um, but workflow variables have a very similar function as well, where if they could just be done in that workflow, but user variables persist throughout conversations. So let's show a quick example of that, Jesse, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So the first thing we'll do is we'll create that user variable. And user variables can be managed in that same settings panel as the bot's language. So that's the little cog icon in the top left. And there's a place for variables where we can add user variables or bot variables or configuration variables, tons of different variables. For this one, we'll call it has been greeted, and it will be a Boolean, the default value of false. So this way we're sort of giving a description to the user whether or not they have been greeted by the bot. And we'll give a default value. Yeah, you have to check that box and then open up the additional settings. It's interesting that we can't set a default value for Boolean.
Maybe the default value is false and now it's true.
Oh, wouldn't that be interesting?
Let's see. If I go to string
Yeah.
default, yeah, that's what it is. That is what it is. Okay, so the default value for string is empty, and the default
Right.
value for the Boolean is true.
Boolean
So I'm gonna uncheck
true.
this.
Yes,
It's
then
gonna
it'll
be
be
false.
default by
Okay.
false. Oh, that's a fun little bug.
All right.
Okay,
Okay. We
cool.
should be good.
So then in our node, we'll put in a very brief transition at the very start for an expression. And here we can actually use GPT to write the transition for us. Uh, I wonder if that'll work without you referencing variable. Maybe it will know we have user dot. Oh my god, it has. Oh, that's so cool. Gets me every time. Cool.
All right. We don't
So
have to
yeah.
remember the variable space it's in the
Mhm.
conversation because we have multiple variable spaces like you just mentioned, right? There's
Yeah.
conversation, there's bot, there's user, there's session, there's temp, there's agents now, right? Each agent has its
Yeah.
own kind
Agents
of
have
life
their own variable
cycle of
scope.
I'm missing one.
I think you've added a couple because workflow has replaced temp.
Has it okay, so temp okay,
Uh,
I tend to get confused with some history here. User so eight temp isn't there anymore. Session. Okay, so there's no temp. There's no temp. Ignore what I just said. You know when a teacher makes a mistake and you have to forget what they just said? I just did
uh,
that to you.
yeah.
So
So
yeah, okay.
I
So
always like to
session,
go
user,
from
conversation, and
small to large,
flow.
right? So the
Okay.
smallest one, that's your workflow variable. It only exists inside of that workflow. Agent variables are similar to temp variables in that they only exist inside of your agent. Um, then stepping above that, you have session variables, which exist within that conversation. So they persist between workflows, but if you leave and come back the next day, all those session variables are gone. User variables stick with the user. So if I talk to the bot, I've got my user variables. Jesse, you talk to the bot, you've got your user variables. And then your bigger ones, your bot variables and or your configuration variables stick with the bot throughout all users. So for me, I've got the same bot variables. For you, you've got the same bot variables. And that's like the biggest and the widest variable scope.
And it takes a little getting used to which one to use when. Sometimes, like especially the workflow, you expect it to be
Ooh.
available somewhere else later on in the conversation, and it's not. And hey, look at that. We have Sylvain. Agent variables are present in
Agent
all scope.
variables.
Hmm. Okay.
Ooh.
If you look at user, so we have the translator agent is storing a user variable, and
Okay.
we have agent variables at the base level and the session.
And at the workflow
Uh,
level, under current workflow,
oh, where's that? In the session, current workflow,
then variable values.
language code
Okay.
answers. Oh, we may not have at this point in this
Oh, because we
conversation
disabled some of them.
a, yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Okay. So each agent will have its own set of variables in each variable space. So the user, the bot, the session, depending on well what it needs to do. Thank you, Sylvain.
Oh, and that's going to be really cool once we can start making our own custom agents, because then you're not limited to just within a workflow scope. Yet your
That's
agent
right.
can assign user values that in memory that will persist with the user. Oh, so many possibilities there. You know, like I'm imagining
Okay.
like for customer service bot or a tech support bot, you've just got a sentiment classification agent that will just store average sentiment of the user's last two or three interactions, so that if the user is a known like negative flame troll guy, that information is there, or if they're a positive angel, that info's there. That would be cool.
Before we go deeper, I have a bunch of ideas too. Let's and before I forget, because I tend to do that when we go too deep
Okay.
on different topics and digress,
Yeah.
is the example here about
Example.
returning users, right?
Returning users having
Okay.
greetings, yes. So the transition for that first guy will be to the second greeting. Like they've already been greeted once, so this will be like welcome back.
Oh dear. Welcome back, fat fingers,
Yeah, that's all right. And
or
then
just
back in the
lack of
first node,
dexterity.
yeah, we can just add a text of welcomed for the first time.
Oh, don't need to transition to
Oh,
the. No, we don't. That's right.
don't even
Okay,
need to.
that's
Yeah,
yeah. Let's do that because I mean we just like continue to the next node at this point, and this
exactly.
will be hi, hi, right? We'll understand it.
They'll understand. So,
So hi,
yeah, start as hi.
hi, hi.
I should say
Great,
hi.
and then hi.
I think
Oh, I'm
you.
checking if the user. I'm not setting it. I didn't say. We didn't say the user's been
Oh,
greeting.
yeah.
Execute code, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so no, back in that
Um.
first node. You're in the wrong node. It should be after you give the initial greeting.
Oh, all right. Yes, sir. That's right. Okay, here
Yep,
we go.
there
And
you
then
go.
that little pop out there.
Yeah.
The
So
user has been greeted. Let's push our luck here a bit.
yeah,
Property.
that's a bit pushing it. You could just say
Yeah.
set user greeting to be true.
There we go.
Hey,
Okay.
there we go. Yeah, we
Perfect.
don't even need to be precise about our user variables. GPT will fill in the blanks. I
Try
love
this
that
again.
feature. Yeah, yeah.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hey. Hello.
Hey.
Okay. We're working on our radio voices. Okay. The scope question. Will the personality agent, the rewrite part, now know that the user has already been greeted? Okay, Fwesh. Okay, so
Ooh.
okay, so you're facing kind of an issue where right mid conversation, the personality rewrite will just randomly say, "Hey there," and you're like, "Dude, no, I've already." Okay, maybe
Hmm.
without the dude, but yeah.
Uh, hmm.
Oh, now I'm stumped. It's a great question. How can we influence the personality rewrite to have the context of the conversation so it knows not to greet? Should we like just change maybe the personality to say don't greet? Don't ever say hi, don't ever greet the user? Have you
Hmm.
possibly tried that already, Fwesh? It does, yeah, well, GPT doesn't respond well to negatives in
Oh,
general.
yeah.
Um,
I'm
Something
thinking.
I've tried is remove any greetings. You tell it to remove any greetings instead of to not write a greeting, instead remove them. So it'll kind of like write it and then figure out it has to take it off because you're telling it what
Mhm.
to do. Loophole, maybe.
Yeah. Another way might be to just break it up into two different AI tasks. You've got one AI task to generate the message, and then another AI task to look through and remove any greetings.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
that would be, yeah, another way. That would be a workaround. It would be harsh. So the extra work, like at every turn, maybe do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. I do think
that's
that these kinds of dynamic agents are something that is on the roadmap, though, because we've talked internally about like having dynamic knowledge bases or dynamic things like that, to where you can start passing variables or changing the configuration of an agent inside the conversation. I think that is a direction that we might be moving, but it's not here yet. It'll be in the future releases.
oh, Sylvain's writing something.
Oh shit.
I feel like waiting for this
Yeah,
patiently
yeah.
might be the answer to that question right there. Some sneak peek insights.
That is true. That is true.
You may be like, don't get your hopes up too high, guys, while I'm writing this. The tension is mounting.
Oh, indeed, indeed.
All right. Okay. So agents can also exchange instructions between each other. Maybe we should make the summary agent share with other agents the summary.
Ooh,
Uh,
that could be good too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It comes a bit. Yeah, it comes a bit to Fresh's idea in the beginning, to
Hmm.
pass context to. Absolutely.
Or the translation
The
agent sharing
agents.
with their things so that you could skip that whole translation layer in the first place.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So we will be able to later influence the order in which agents execute, and then we could possibly one agent as an input to the other agent somehow. Okay,
Hmm.
but at least passing in the summary agent that runs first as an input to the personality. Okay, I like
Yeah.
that. All right. Um, we're 55 minutes
Yeah.
in.
We're
We
55 minutes in.
haven't even gotten to starting actually building the bot we have planned. Like we've been talking
That's
about
true.
building this bot for a month and a half now,
Oh my
maybe
god.
two on
Yeah.
these live streams. Even been there yet. Um, Jesse, you need to
Oh,
complete
you
your builder
need to
checklist.
complete your builder checklist. What haven't we done? What haven't we done yet?
Like, so I've chatted with my bot, yes, absolutely, with my multiple
Okay.
bots. I've said hi.
Yeah.
I've been greeted. We've have knowledge base. We've got responses back. We got lots of those. Create an
Haven't
AI
done an AI
response.
response. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
we
Not
got that.
yet.
What is this? Okay, let me click.
I mean,
Okay,
using
click.
the AI task.
Oh, I'm zoomed in. Maybe this is. Let me zoom out a bit here. Okay, there we
Ah,
go.
okay.
Oh, this is Patrick. For those of you who may have seen him on
Hey,
the live stream, I
can
wonder,
can we get a
Patrick,
hands in
is
the chat for
Patrick?
Patrick?
I'm gonna call Patrick. Is Patrick in the audience with us right
Yeah. Hey,
now?
Patrick. Patrick, would you like
Patrick?
to watch your own video?
He
Do
he
you like the
is.
sound
Hey,
of your own voice, Patrick?
I told him I wouldn't do this, but I'd like to invite Patrick to the stage. A short moment. He just got back from the what's a Patrick? He just got back from the dentist. He's been like face like a squirrel right now on one side. He has the hardest time speaking. Face is frozen. It's okay.
Oh,
I won't invite you
yeah.
to the stage.
Let's keep Patrick in the chat.
I politely declines. Okay.
All right.
So click an AI task on the top right. I've stored the result variable, type response. and click create variable response. Drag and drop the card. Do I have to do exactly these steps? Because we did create an AI task response. We did this right here,
Let's jump into
right?
doing AI tasks. Yeah. Well, you might have created that before the checklist got implemented, or you haven't
Mm,
talked to that node since the checklist has been implemented.
Write something you would write in ChatGPT under task instructions in the AI task input section. Add event preview. Okay, we did that differently. Did you send a message from the AI task response? I think you need to do exactly what it asks for. Okay.
Ah.
Okay. All
Oh
right.
man, following instructions, Jesse. Do you think you're up for it?
Ah, if you help me through them. Okay. So I'm doing this publicly just so everyone knows context. JB's my boss and he's just publicly reprimanded me. So I gotta zoom in here. There we go. Standard note. Okay. Did I get
Your
that
node.
right?
Correct. Yep.
Click add card, click AI task. On the
AI
top
task.
right, write something you would. Okay. Add
Write
card.
something. Yeah.
AI task.
AI task.
Okay.
Cool. And
Answer the user's question. Question. Okay.
yeah,
Now that's
there we
very
go.
basic. It's the same example we had earlier, right? Okay. In the AI task input section, add at event preview. At
Ooh,
event.
at event.preview.
Really? We can do
That
that? I thought
work?
this just worked with workflow variables. Did we lie earlier as well?
Oh
So we can
no.
maybe we did. Okay.
Learning new
Uh,
things. That.
in store result. Okay, in store. I'm like, what store? Okay.
Response.
Type
Ah, okay.
response, then click create variable response.
Variable.
Click
Brand new
response.
response. Has to be response, yeah.
Click. Oh, save, I guess, huh? I hope.
Yeah, yeah. Click save. I think save was step 6, step 5.
Store variable
Drag
type
and drop
response,
the
and click create
card to the
variable.
position you want. A send message with at response. Ah. Wait, there's 2 step 7s. Maybe which step 7 did Jesse not do?
Yeah, try it out by sending. This must be step 8. It's like lucky 8,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Message, send message at response. Okay. Now we try it out, right? Hey.
Yes.
Oh, it's a user question. So what's my question this time?
Um, let's see. What color are oranges?
What? Typically.
Typically
Orange. That's
orange in
great.
color.
And,
All right.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Now it's right. Great. AI response. Add add a send message card. Give it at response. Drag it under the AI tab. Try it out by sending a message to your bot. I did this.
Oh no.
Okay. Um. So there's a question. Is it possible to have the bot be proactive, meaning the bot greet the first user?
I
Well,
think
we're lucky
yeah.
here. Well, we're lucky to have Sylvain here himself, and he can show something to get feedback that could answer that question. Normally, uh, Moses. I don't know how to say everyone's names. I'd say, well, that's cooking. Was Sylvain sure?
Cooking.
Would you like to join us on stage? There we go.
Hey, welcome, Sylvain.
Hey, that
All
was
right.
that was unexpected. Okay, yeah, let's do this. Just see here's okay, you're literally the first ones to see this.
Um, okay, we're 15 minutes overtime. We got a ad hoc sneak peek from Sylvain.
Impromptu.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sylvain. Impromptu. Is that a good? That's what I wanted to go with, but
Yeah. Unexpected, a surprise visit, a
unexpected
surprise
surprise.
preview.
Yeah.
It's a good surprise, though.
Yeah. There's been thank you, Sylvain. So we'll cut the recording out for this part. I'd like to address like one last question there before we drop. JB's been addressing it. It's been going on in French, so for the English people there that are missing out on it, maybe already translating it with Botpress and what we just did today, the example at Touch the Car. So, is it possible to include YouTube videos in the chatbot? So we broke that down into two possibilities, like either do we want to do it in content, like content elements, like the chatbot responds with YouTube videos, or do we want to be able to use a YouTube video in the knowledge base? So my attempt to that and to answer that question is, if we talk about a card, yeah, a card, we can link a video in a card.
Hmm.
But
You
do
could
we
send
have
the
to upload
video.
it?
Yeah, and depending on what channels you're using, some channels don't support like pure videos. Like I think with WhatsApp, it would just send a link where they can view the video rather than the actual video itself, which makes sense because videos are big. Um, so you could do that. You could send a card with the link there and like a thumbnail that they can watch. That would look pretty as well. Or you can upload the video transcript to a knowledge base, and then you've kind of got the knowledge of that video, and your bot can just give straight answers.
How could we put the link though? Because right, I just see the ability to upload a video.
Hmm.
Yeah.
JB has it. Some channels will automatically detect a YouTube link and generate a preview from that.
Right. Dish it. Bye. Thank you very much for your attendance. Um, yeah. Okay. And for knowledge base, so we don't support videos yet in the knowledge base.
Not yet, no.
We don't. Yeah. Not a streaming. Not even not an upload either. Because what are we missing? What's it called? Speech to text, text to speech, like right,
Yeah,
recognition to
speech to
transform it into
text is
text.
one of the
Mhm.
technologies. Also, image to text and captioning. There's a lot of layers that need to go from taking a video and putting it into a knowledge store. It's a lot easier to just start with text and then storage text.
You can just take the transcript. Absolutely. If you have a generated transcript already, copy it from there. There are definitely tools that are available that do it quite easily until Botpress supports it out of the box. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Okay.
So Jesse, are we getting towards the end of this office hours stream?
I believe that is a wrap. That's it.
That's
So
it.
we'll see each other soon enough. We'll send out some announcements about when the next live stream will be. We're trying to do it there every 2 weeks on Thursday at the same time. So yeah, you could pretty much expect it to happen at the same time. If you have some requests about type of content that you'd like to hear, that you'd like to discuss, or maybe a different approach
Yeah.
too on Discord, maybe more interactive, you come and join on stage with us, ask us a few questions, and we try and answer. Maybe we try and break your bot with you and the audience. It's really just like experiment together for an hour. Maybe we can start a different kind of track like that. Could be really interesting. Instead of a build a bot series, it could be break a bot series or fix a
Ichabod.
bot or
Oh, I love that. I do.
oh,
I do.
we already have volunteers coming in.
Beautiful. Uh, yeah, and Jesse, you mentioned video feedback and stuff. I know there's one of the feature requests. There's a thread about an AI task tutorial about what people want to see in that.
Yes,
That's
yes.
absolutely a video that's coming soon. So if you guys have feedback about what you want to see in an in-depth AI task tutorial, let us know, and we'll use that and make a video that will really be helpful for you guys.
That's right. So Gordon, thank you. Everyone in the moderators, thank you very much. We will see you soon. I'd say join our Discord channel, but we're already here. So for the recording, for those that are
Get your
listening on
friends to
YouTube
join the
and get
Discord
here,
channel.
get your friends to join the Discord channel. This is definitely where most of the fun's at.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not excluding any channels, no. Follow us on YouTube. Was follow us on LinkedIn and what's the other one? I always confuse for some reason. Twitter. Uh, social media. All right. Everybody
All right.
have a great day. And
Guys.
see you soon. Bye.